Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. We're going to be talking about the Houthis here down in Yemen and this new attack drone that they have that they've been using over the last couple days. So, if you don't know about this, on your screen here, this is the Houthis' new underwater unmanned vehicle. Okay, it's basically a drone that can travel underwater, and it can be, you can attach explosives to it and use it to try to crash it into a ship and hit the hull of a ship and sink the ship. So these are very effective because you can put them underwater and they're much harder to detect and much harder to take out as well. Okay, so the Houthis just started using these. We had a report just the other day, I think it was like a day or two ago, and the U.S. Navy had to take one of these out. Okay, there was one headed for, I think, like a commercial ship or something, or towards a warship, and supposedly they detected it and took it out. So the Houthis are getting clever now, and I think they're getting these new weapons here, just like this UUV here on your screen, the underwater unmanned vehicle. I think they're getting these from Iran now because we just had reports just the other day as well. I reported that the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, they are on the ground in Yemen supposedly, and they are assisting the Houthis directly. Okay, so Iran's army technically is on the ground in Yemen right now, and uh, Vice Admiral Brad Cooper, I think his name is, he came out on 60 Minutes the other day reporting that they have intelligence that IRGC is on the ground in Yemen. So maybe that's how the Houthis have gotten these drones. Maybe they brought them in with them. The IRGC brought them in whenever they came in. So I want to talk a little bit more about this and kind of give an insight to how effective these could possibly be, how dangerous it is as well, because if one of these end up striking a warship because they're unable to, detect it in time or something, this could spell really bad news. Okay, this is a very dangerous drone. So we've dealt with USVs, which are above water. They're like little boats that float on top of the water, strapped with explosives. But these go underwater, which are much harder to detect and take out. Okay, so I have an article here. We're going to go in a little bit deeper and talk about this. This is on ABC News. It says unmanned Houthi submarines pose new threat to U.S. warships in the Red Sea. U.S. conducted what it called self-defense strikes on 5 targets in Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen after the Houthis employed an unmanned submarine for the first time since attacks in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden began. The Pentagon said the submarine, an unmanned underwater vessel or UUV, shows advancing Houthi capability and a shifting strategy. ABC News national security and defense analyst Mick Mulroy, a former Pentagon official and CIA agent. So they're probably switching their strategy because many of their ballistic missiles get shot down. Some of them end up hitting the ships, but the problem is that when these missiles hit the ship, it usually strikes the top side of the ship, so it makes it a lot harder to sink the ship. So these new underwater drones are much more effective because if it hits the hull of the ship, like on the bottom side, it's going to sink, or at least begin to sink much faster, and it'll be very hard for the ship operators to to patch it up in time before the ship starts sinking. So much more effective, right? Unmanned surface and subsurface vessels are likely more difficult to detect and destroy than aerial drones and anti-ship missiles. The Houthis are not likely capable of manufacturing these weapons on their own, so they are probably coming from Iran, Mulroy said. In addition to the unmanned submarine hit Sunday, the U.S. military said it struck an unmanned vessel that moves on the surface, as well as anti-ship cruise missiles, which have made up bulk of U.S. targets in the Houthi arsenal. So yeah, they've been using a lot of these above water drones, and we've seen lots of anti-ship cruise missiles, but this is the first time just the other day that the U.S. had to take out an underwater drone. Okay, The Houthis, which the U.S. designates a global terrorist group with Iran's backing, operate out of the parts of Yemen they control after a ceasefire in the Yemeni civil war. The International Revolutionary Guards Corps, Quds Force, an arm of the Iranian regime's military forces that coordinates operations outside of Iran's borders, supports the Houthis and other armed groups with weapons and financing, the U.S. says. Here's a picture of some of the Houthis. It says commanders of Houthis and militia groups. All right, so the Houthis and the IRGC are adjusting their strategy, apparently because they haven't been successful in striking a U.S. naval vessel, Mulray said. The Houthis have targeted American ships to no avail, while the U.S. has been increasing defensive strikes since a separate militia group, also backed by Iran, struck the U.S. base in Jordan and killed 3 service members. So again, the Houthis are, what their main target is at some point is going to be a U.S. warship. That'll be their primary target. I know they're going after commercial vessels in the Red Sea, and they're trying to slow down, international trade and imperil the world, hold everybody account for that. But I think the main objective here is to try to strike a warship if they haven't already done so, because I've reported on it several times that the Houthis have come out and claimed that they hit a warship, a U.S. warship, multiple times, but every single time it was denied by the U.S. So we don't know if it really happened or not, but it may as well have already happened, and right now, what we're waiting to see happen is if one of these UUVs actually hits a warship or a commercial ship, and we'll have to see the amount of damage that it does. And I'm pretty sure it'd make it a lot easier to sink a ship as long as it has enough explosives on it to breach the hull. If one or more of these weapons get through and kill U.S. sailors, Iran should expect to be held directly responsible, said Mulroy. The unmanned weapon systems are an acute threat, Mulroy said, since they could overwhelm the ship's defenses by attacking from multiple dimensions, a so-called swarm attack. So he's obviously saying right here that if these weapons end up killing U.S. sailors, that Iran's probably going to get attacked, more than likely, if they end up killing sailors, because it's very obvious where these weapons are coming from. They're coming from Iran. And, the United States knows that they're the main backers of all these groups. So, obviously, if one of these ships end up getting destroyed, like a U.S. warship or something, I'm pretty sure the United States is going to hold them accountable for that. Okay? And, it also says right here, so they could overwhelm ships' defenses by attacking from multiple dimensions. So, basically, they could maybe launch several USVs. I wouldn't be surprised they try to do that. They use all of them at the same time to go after a particular warship. Let's say they launch ballistic missiles, and then they launch aerial drones. They launch, USVs, the unmanned surface vessels, the smaller drones that float on the water. And then imagine they launch the UUVs, the underwater drones, at the same time. I think that's what he means right here. They could overwhelm the ship's defenses from attacking from multiple dimensions. Imagine they attack different ways, from the air, land, and sea at the same time. That could potentially overwhelm the ship's defenses, like it says here, and they might be able to take one out. All right. So the U.S. Coast Guard said it intercepted a cache of weapons aboard a ship heading to Iran, or from Iran to Houthi-controlled Yemen. So right here, these military components apparently were for the unmanned vessels. Okay, so this there was a ship that was basically the U.S. Navy took it over. They found it coming from Iran, and there was several people on board. And whenever they commandeered the ship and took it over, they found lots of explosives and parts for like cruise missiles and drones and all kinds of stuff. So I'm pretty sure the U.S. is aware that these parts are coming from Iran. And again, here's a picture of one of these drones. So I'm not sure if this is exactly what they would look like. This is really just more of an example for you to give you an idea. It's kind of like a torpedo underwater with a propeller on it. And it can be remotely driven until it hits its destination of wherever they want to attack. So if they want to hit a ship or something, they can control it from land all the way up until the point it hits a ship. So these things seem to be very dangerous, and like I said, the Houthis are getting clever. They're changing up their tactics, and it's a matter of time. Like I said before, one of these U.S. warships get badly damaged or destroyed, or many people get killed from one of these attacks, whether that be a commercial ship or a U.S. warship, and this is going to end really badly. Okay, because Iran is going to be blamed for this, because these are their weapons, okay? It might be the Houthis firing them, but Iran, at the end of the day, is the one that's funding all the weapons and supplies that are going to, all these groups. So definitely not a good thing, right? Okay, so that's going to be it for this video. I hope you got something out of this. I just wanted to give you some insight here to these UUVs and give a little bit more information about them. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. And if you enjoy my content, please consider hitting the subscribe button and also the notification bell, and YouTube can notify you as soon as a new video goes live. So with that, thank you so much again for tuning in. I hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. We'll see you in the next one.